Welcome back, aspirants. Today, we've got a really fantastic explainer for you here at Rungta IAS Academy. We are taking up a very high-yield GS Paper 3 topic, and that's shielding the grid.
Absolutely. It's great to be here with you all. Today, we're really unpacking the security of India's critical national infrastructure. And honestly, this isn't just about technology. It's a vital matter of our national sovereignty.
Right. So take a look at this massive industrial network of power plants and refineries on your screen. Now, you might be wondering, why does this matter for your exam? Well, because this is a direct bullseye hit for your GS Paper 3 syllabus.
Exactly. It sits right there perfectly at the intersection of economy and internal security. You see, any disruption here doesn't just stop a machine, it directly impacts public safety and shakes our economic stability.
And that brings us to the core paradox of our era. We all know digital transformation, AI, and the Internet of Things have massively scaled up our efficiency, right?
True, but here's the major catch you need to highlight in your mains essays. That exact connectivity, it critically expands our national risk horizon. By upgrading, we are literally opening up our critical infrastructure to remote disruption. It's a double-edged sword.
Let's trace how this happened. Historically, we relied on isolated, locally managed systems. I'm talking about those traditional SCADA setups.
Yes, and because they were offline, they were relatively safe. But today, for things like optimization and predictive maintenance, they're constantly hooked up to the broader internet. And suddenly, your standard cybersecurity measures, like the basic CERT-IN guidelines, well, they're just not enough anymore.
Now, aspirants, I want you to take down some notes right here, because this slide gives you some absolutely vital vocabulary for your mains. We call it the convergence triad.
Exactly. Think of it like a puzzle. You have IT operating in the digital space and OT, operational technology, down in the physical world of plants and machinery. And right there in the middle is IoT. It connects the two. But if we aren't careful, that very connector can easily become our weakest link.
Which leads us to a really profound realization. The real question is whether these devices can actually be trusted.
This hits the nail on the head. I mean, heavy physical security at a power plant is completely useless if the tiny IoT sensors inside are already compromised. We aren't just dealing with physical break-ins anymore. We're fighting invisible risks, like embedded Trojans.
So, moving on to Section 1, Case Study Fuel Supply Chain Vulnerabilities. This is a fantastic, highly concrete case study you can use directly in your answers. Fuel transportation is literally the lifeblood of our economy, and how we secure it has fundamentally changed.
Think about it. Earlier, our oil tankers were protected with simple brass padlocks and physical keys. But of course, that led to pilferage. So what did we do? We upgraded to IoT-based keyless systems and GPS tracking.
And sure, accountability definitely improved. But in doing so, we created entirely new digital control points. Basically, a local theft problem transformed into a massive remote vulnerability. And here's the sharp, analytical point you must make for the examiner. We're seeing increasing instances of electronic locks complete with GPS capabilities that are manufactured in China, yet they are somehow obtaining Indian certifications. It's deeply concerning. If unverified foreign manufactured tracking systems infiltrate our supply chains, the entire network is vulnerable. Remember this rule of thumb: the hardware's source absolutely dictates the software's security. Let's move to Section 2, Policy Critique, Procurement versus Atmanirbhar Bharat. Now, as a future IAS officer, you've got to be able to critically analyze policy. We clearly have a strong national intent for self-reliance. Make in India, right? But on the ground, there's a very serious disconnect in implementation.
That's right. At the highest levels, the Atmanirbhar Bharat vision is crystal clear. But when you look at the lower levels inside the PSUs, the tender conditions simply don't insist on trusted Indian-made products. It ends up being just a template-based compliance check.
Exactly. They verify basic eligibility, but they completely fail to deeply examine the design origin and authenticity. The existing IT and IoT guidelines just aren't being enforced with the seriousness that a nation's critical infrastructure demands. So, what's the way out? Well, the STQC certification for cameras has been a really positive step. It ensures that devices don't perform any unintended data sharing behind our backs.
It is a good step for sure, but the critique here, and this is what you should write, is that this certification process is currently far too lengthy. It moves too slowly. We urgently need similar, strict, but streamlined mechanisms for all critical IoT devices across the entire grid.
All right, let's bring it all together. For your GS3 conclusion, here's your blueprint for actionable points. When you conclude, demand stricter policy enforcement across all government departments. Call for rigorous, streamlined certification processes and an explicit preference for trusted indigenous tech.
You've got to make it very clear to the examiner. Maintaining continuous vigilance in our automated infrastructure isn't just an IT department issue. It is a matter of pure economic sovereignty.
To wrap up today's explainer, I want you to imagine a simulated UPSC interview scenario. The board looks right at you and asks, are we deploying connected technologies securely enough to protect the nation's future? Take a moment to really ponder that delicate balance between rapid technological adoption and safeguarding our national sovereignty. Thank you so much for joining us today, aspirants. Keep studying hard, and we'll see you in the next explainer.